Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Fazlin binti Muhammad Shraimi, and I am a higher learning officer and English language lecturer currently exploring how artificial intelligence doesn't just translate language but also transform the way we communicate across the field. Not only that, I am actually hail from Polytechnic Ungku Omar from Perak, and today I'll be presenting AI translation in IT, text, a Skopos theory, analysis of ChatGPT versus Copilot. It is actually pretty mouthful, yeah, but I promise you it is actually more action packed than more than it sounds. Well, this research is actually comes from the intersection of linguistics, technology, and a healthy dose of a curiosity slash skepticism about how machine interpret with intention. Well, you may think of me as someone who teaches English by day, wrangles with algorithm by night, and I decided it would be best to pit these AI titans, that is ChatGPT, against each other in the linguistic thunderdome, all for the love across multidisciplinary clarity. Well, let me tell you what my research is all about. My research is particularly investigate on how these two popular AI translation tool, that is a ChatGPT and a Microsoft Copilot, how they actually perform in translating domain specific IT text. Well, you see, while AI translation tools are widely used, questions still remain lingering whether their ability to produce functionally adequate translation, particularly for specialized field. In this research, a Scopus theory provides a useful framework for analyzing translation, not just for the accuracy alone, but on how well it actually served the intended communicative purpose and how it actually successfully delivering the actual meaning to the target audience. So basically, this research is about to conduct a functional comparison by using a Scopus theory to access the output of each tool, that is, the ChatGPT 4.0 and Microsoft Copilot. Now, moving on towards the problem statement, you see when the AI translation tools becomes more accessible and widely used in professional and education setting, questions remain arise about their effectiveness in translating domain-specific content. In this case, we are the IT-related text, which requires a precision, the clarity, and the purpose-driven translation. These are the qualities not all AI tools can actually guarantee the 100% of the accuracy. You see, despite their popularity, tools like ChatGPT, Copilot, DeepSeek, Gemini AI normally are often evaluated on the surface level of their accuracy rather than their ability to fulfill communicative function. This research is going to address the gap by using the Scopus theory to evaluate on how these tools, the AI translation tools, to be able to perform in the real world purpose sensitive context and how they are able to deliver the accuracy so that the target audience can actually understand. Now let's talk about the impact and contribution that might benefited from this research. Well, this research might be able to contribute translation research by demonstrating how functionalist theories such as a Scopus theory can be used to evaluate the AI generated translation in a specific high stake domain, specifically in information and communication technology. Now, by applying Scopus theory, this research will be able to shift the focus from the basic translation accuracy to the usability, context fit, and the audience relevance. It is also believed that this research from this finding will offer a practical implication first for the educator integrating able to integrating AI tools in translator training, and second of all would be able the institution might be able to benefit by selecting the translation tools for internal use, and furthermore for the developer to be able to refine the AI translation engine for professional context. It is hoped that this research would be able to lay a groundwork for the future functionalist assessment across other specialized domains. Now let's talk about the theoretical framework which I applied for this research. The theoretical framework that I chose would be the Scopus theory, which is developed by Hans Vermeer himself. Well, Hans Vermeer developed this theory, which particularly focusing on the purpose of the translation over the literal equivalence. Now, according to Hans Vermeer, a good translation is the one that fulfills its intended function for its target audience. This theory is especially relevant in this context, such as the IT translation, where the clarity, usability, and the context appropriate terminology are vital, is important. So, therefore, the target audience would be able to understand what is actually being said in the original source text. Now, moving on towards the methodology, this research is actually applying the qualitative case study, where this approach is mainly used to analyze the translation of English language IT article, specifically taken from 2024 Malaysian Translator Association translation test. Two AI tools were used, that is a ChatGPT 4.0, uh, by using the latest version, which is in June 2025, and also the Microsoft Copilot accessed via Windows 11 integrated assistant. This article was selected for its terminological complexity and communicative purpose, making it suitable for functionalist analysis. In this case, we are going to apply the Scopus theory in this text. Moving on the analytical process, the translated output were compared side by side to identify the pattern, the discrepancies, and the thematic differences. Three core criteria are actually derived from the Scopus theory, which is actually guided by the analysis. The first one would be the purpose fulfillment. We wanted to find out, does the translation serve the same communicative function, whether the cultural linguistic adaptation is being applied in this analysis, whether there are localized terms and cultural nuances handled appropriately, and finally, um, we wanted to find out whether the functional adequacy is whether is the translation terminologically and stylistically fit for the purpose. So the analysis was interpretive and conducted by the researcher without the use of scoring rubrics or external reviewer. Now let us discuss about the key findings by focusing on the ChatGPT. While ChatGPT generally produces more contextual adaptive translation, um, what is trying to say here, it was effective in using the natural phrasing, especially for end user facing IT content. The result has also demonstrated that it has the better grasp of implied meaning, restructuring sentences for clarity and engagement. But then again, it sometimes overcompensated, introducing unnecessary embellishment or deviating from technical tones that is required in the IT text. Let me show you for the example. The government cloud adoption strategy aims to improve interoperability between public sector's agency. That is actually the source text. When you ask the ChatGPT to generate the translation into Malay language, it sounds exactly like this. Strategi penggunaan awan, kerajaan bertujuan meningkatkan keboleh operasian antara agensi sektor awam. So based from this translation, ChatGPT able to maintain a functional intent and uses the main appropriate terminology, that is the keboleh operasian. So basically from what we see here, the structure is more natural and clear for a professional Malay speaking audience. Moving on to the findings of the Copilot, Microsoft Copilot actually translated more literally by favoring direct lexical substitution over contextual rephrasing. Um, it maintained terminology consistency and was useful for straightforward instruction-based text. Well, what is trying to say here, if you have a set of an instruction, Copilot can be actually very useful for you to use the translation. But nevertheless, it actually like the nuances, especially the culturally embedded expression or the main specific idiom. So Copilot cannot do that. Some outputs were stiff or mechanical and reducing reader friendliness. Now observe this kind of an example produces by the Copilot output. By using the source text, the government cloud adoption strategy aims to improve interoperability between public sector's agency. Copilot translated this as strategi penerimaan awan oleh kerajaan bertujuan untuk meningkatkan keupayaan beroperasi antara agensi sektor awam. So, based from the translation here, you can actually able to see that Copilot uh, prefer more literal rendering penerimaan awan, which may confuse a reader due to unnatural phrasing. Some, in some certain circumstances, um, rather than penerimaan awan, sometimes they choose to retain the cloud adoption in the inverted comma, which the translation may look more original that way. But then again, Copilot, regardless the translation is grammatically correct, but however, it produces a less functional in a professional IT communication. Correct terminology, correct jargon, but lack of nuances and culturally relevant. Now, moving on the comparative insight, it has been discovered that both tools actually show distinct translation behavior. From the findings, we can actually find out that ChatGPT preferred dynamic equivalence, adapting content for readability for the audiences, while the Copilot actually followed a source text orientation favoring structural fidelity. Well, to sum everything up, ChatGPT performed better in achieving functional adequacy, especially where clarity and audience engagement were essential, whereas the Copilot actually more rigid, more strict, but more reliable for glossary consistency. But however, I would never imply that neither tools can be fully replace the need for the human post editing in professional context. We still need human post editing because nothing can actually beat the human post editing work as compared to AI translation. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached for the conclusion and the implication. Um, the finding actually suggests that while AI translation tools like ChatGPT and Copilot offers a valuable assistant, incredible time saving, and their output must be incredible time saving factor for the translator. But however, their outputs must be evaluated for purpose alignment and usability. By applying the Scopus theory serve as a practical lens for this assessment, the result has demonstrated that ChatGPT showed a superior adaptability in meeting communicative goal, whereas Copilot only excel in the mechanical precision. However, implication include the potential integration of AI translation in professional and education setting must be guided by function-oriented evaluation framework. So, ladies and gentlemen, what would be the impact and the relevance of this research to the others? I believe that this research able to make a huge contribution towards the translation practice and AI integration in education, not just education alone, but translation too as well. So based on this research able to demonstrate on how functionalist theory able to evaluate AI translation output, that is ChatGPT 4.0 and Microsoft Copilot. By highlighting the limitation of the AI tools for the domain specific tags, it is able research is able to provide a foundation for developing AI literacy among translation study students as well as the educators. Now, this research I believe might be able to encourage a shift from the surface accuracy to purpose driven evaluation in translation technology assessment. As for the future direction, I sincerely hope that this study open a several pathway for further research. This research might be able to expand the corpus to include multiple genre and technical field. It is also hoped that this research could actually able to test the AI performance under the prompt tuning and the guided instruction. This research is also believed that able to incorporate human translator benchmark for a richer comparison, not just for the ChatGPT and the Copilot, but also for the Gemini AI and the DeepSeek too as well. By inter- uh, And not only that, it is also hoped for that for the future direction of this research could develop a Scopus-based training modules to be able to assist and help the translator use artificial intelligence critically, effectively, and ethically. So that is all my presentation for today about the AI translation tool. Thank you very much. If you have any other question, please direct those questions to me and I will try my best to answer and help you by providing the answer. Thank you very much.